everyone. Welcome to the Glow podcast. I am here today with a very exciting guest. I have Chelsey, and I am super excited to speak with her. But for those of you who are new here, we are Tailored Marketing, and we help wellness, longevity, and aesthetic clinics grow their practices through strategic marketing and sales strategies. So if you are interested, drop a comment below. Chelsey, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so excited to have you here. If you would, I would love if you would just go ahead and give a little bit of an introduction so the listeners know who you are.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. Yes, my name is Chelsey Brown. I am a nurse by trade in Canada, in the capital, which is Ottawa, Ontario. I own an aesthetics business. We have multiple locations. And my story is that I just really found my groove as an entrepreneur through basically the last decade. I'm an incredibly creative person, and it's just allowed me to really explore who I am. But I started out as thinking I was going to medical school. I had an undergraduate degree in biology. I worked my way through that. Then I went to nursing school. Through that, I met somebody in my preceptorship, a plastic surgeon, who sort of took me under his wing and taught me a lot. And before you knew it, I realized that I could do both of the things that I love so much, which was the beauty side of things and the scientific side of things. They merged. It felt so right, and I was in the right space. And I went on to open up my own business, and the rest is history. We've grown incredibly in the last, we're in our 7th fiscal year, 3 locations, and we're just keep making strides and basically breaking down barriers in the aesthetic space.
That's so awesome. Yeah, no, that's so cool. It's fun to hear like everyone's story, how they got into aesthetics as well, because I feel like, even like 15 years ago, like it was like not really a huge industry, and now like everyone kind of knows this side of the industry. Like I feel like it was more of, like you said, like the beauty side, and now it's like merging the beauty and the scientific side together, which is really, really cool that you got to do that, especially with like the nursing background and everything as well too.
I will give total credit to our predecessors, our forefathers, foremothers, that there was a field before us that got to use it all for the first time. All of these injectables, honestly, made mistakes. There were recalls from FDA and Health Canada. And I think those of us working in this field now, we're in our prime. Like we've really come through a lot of safety barriers, if you will. And so now we're able to explore. We've opened up the field that way. And I also like to call it a field, because if there's one thing you should know about me, I'm a very proud nurse. And what we really aim to do is increase the standards so well that when we're looked at as nurses, we're still looked at, or nurse injectors, we're still looked at as medical professionals. So I say fields. I try my best to say field. Often I say industry as well, because an industry is just a lot of working parts coming together for many different reasons, but basically it's a sales field.
Yeah.
But I say field instead of industry when I can, so that we are looked at as a nice mainstream part of nursing still, and being physicians as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's an important part too. And going back to what you said earlier, like you said that you realized, kind of when you started your practice, you're like, okay, I love being an entrepreneur. And so I'm sure as growing your 3 locations, growing the practice and everything has been probably really rewarding. And there's also probably been challenges. And I'm sure there's people out there too that maybe have gone through some of these challenges as well. So as you've been growing your practice, what are maybe like some things you can attribute that to? And then also I'll ask about challenges after that.
Sure. So are you asking about the successes?
Yeah. Successes first, and then we can go into some of the challenges as well.
Sure. I mean, what I do, I consider it to be fun. As an entrepreneur, that's the creative part of me that comes out.
Yeah.
The successes have come from listening to our patients.
Yeah.
Honestly, they're our muse. It doesn't take very long working in this field to know that there's a handful of concerns that everyone has. And so if you can get really good at any one of those concerns, then you'll probably do well in this. And that's been my biggest success, is listening to patients and being able to scour the world, travel the world, go to conferences, read literature, and determine, okay, what are some treatments and techniques and services out there that could match these pain points of these patients?
Yeah.
And that's allowed me to be creative, not in a box, versus working in traditional healthcare where there's a set number, have been the same kind of treatments and modalities for a really long time, but there's a lot of newness and I'm able to implement them. And
Yeah.
that's been the greatest success. Now we're in a space where I'm really looking at women's health because why? I've been using
Yeah.
patients as the muse. They've been in my chair for 7 years. I'm a lot less seeing patients and more focusing on growing the business, but still there's the same messages about being left behind in terms of the health space and, not a lot of research being done on women since the dawn of time, since the dawn of medicine 2.0.
Yeah.
And so our successes have really come from listening and then figuring out a way to create services to implement and that will match their pain points. Those are, and the growth, of course, that's fun. None of it comes without challenges or failures, if you will. I welcome all of it. But the fun part has been connecting with my patients and then building a team that I'm able to delegate and they're able to take all of my ideas and sort of run with it. And that's the fun part.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's so important too. Like, really, with anything, is like listening to people. I feel like with any business model, almost, it's like if your customers, your clients, your patients, if they're not happy, then you need to figure out how to make them happy. Or also, even if like maybe they're asking, like you said, you have people in the chair and they're talking about women's health, maybe they're interested in like these different aspects, and it's like, okay, what can we add so like they're coming to us for this instead of going somewhere else, and so we can help them with this issue.
Exactly. And it's specifically knowing that one step ahead that, like I said, there's a handful of pain points that all of our patients bring us. They might come to us for different reasons. But when you can express that you've been there, you've thought about it, you know how to guide them, that's a sort of a game over. And I do think that not game over, it's the start of a great relationship with these people that want to continue to see you for years.
Yeah.
There's two ways really to go about offering, and one is to supply an answer to the pain points of people, right? To solve a problem. And then sometimes there's revolution and there's giving people the answer to something they didn't know that they were missing. And I use something like the advent of a cell phone as one. People didn't really know that they were missing this mobile handheld computer, but once Apple and the big guns came out with it, it was like, this is what everybody wants. So you're either solving a problem or you're showing them that there's something else out there that they haven't experienced yet that they want. And I think we do both of those in our field or in my business. By the way, my business is called the Cosmetic Clinic. I could have said that. That's one of them anyways. That's what I spend most of my days working on. But the Cosmetic Clinic is the name of our company.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. That's such a good point too that you brought up. And like, I guess too, like if there is anyone out there who maybe is, starting in aesthetics or they're thinking about starting a practice, is there any like specific advice that you're like, wow, you know what, I really wish, besides like listening to your patients, but is there anything that you were like, wow, I wish I really would have heard this from someone when I was first starting?
So much, Taylor, because I was really on my own. In my city, there were only a handful. A city of over 1 million people, and there was only a handful of clinics
That's
that were
wild.
reputable and known of. Yeah. And I think number one, I do feel in some ways Canada's behind. Like we're not, like some cities are saturated, but I don't think that we're saturated completely.
Yeah.
But if I had somebody holding my hand, number one, I was actually a new nurse. Not that I recommend that necessarily, but I was also a mature student, and I was about 30 at the time.
Okay.
And if I had somebody to help me, I would be in another position today. But I'm also proud that I was able to build all this on my own. I would have wanted somebody to teach me about independent practice. I would have wanted somebody to help hold my hand and guide me and say that really actually traditional nursing and all of the standards that we have in public care are actually all the same standards we extrapolate to medical aesthetics.
Yeah.
And I would have wanted somebody to help me with all of my SOPs and procedures and legal issues and all of that. And I would have wanted somebody to help me with the business aspect. Luckily, somehow, by the grace of whatever, that I found all the answers as I went along. But I also was a little bit naive, and that sort of worked for me. I didn't know that most clinics close by by the 5-year mark. Like that's a huge, it's like 90% of clinics will close by the 5-year mark because they haven't figured out cash flow or the business side of things. I'm in year 7. I'm so blessed to be one of the 10%, but I think that's what you need to do. If you're new, you need to go and you need to seek business knowledge, and not just how to be a boss, but how to actually function in the business and make sure that the business stays afloat from a financial perspective, and learn what's important to a business, like not just cash flow, cogs and overhead and salaries and that sort of stuff. I might have also wanted somebody to tell me that there's 2 ways to do this. You can do it as a single entity, which is what a lot of people are doing. They want to go out on their own. And then there's this other, which is what I'm doing, and we're scaling. And so that's okay to do either one. I'll tell you that as a single clinic location, we were leaner. We had less overhead, less expenses, less worry about a lot of different aspects of the business and safety and all of that. So, going back, I know myself, and I'm just a grower. There's no way I was going to stay at one location. There's no way we're going to get 3 locations. It's just not in my DNA. But those people, that's great. You actually can do better in your business by staying lean and just know who you are. I would have wanted somebody to say you're like one of 2 groups and pick one. It would have helped me navigate a lot sooner. I'm sure there's so much more, but ad lib and off the cuff, those are some big lessons I would have learned. And then also to lose the fear of rejection, lose the fear of, am I going to be as great as this clinic that's been opened before me? Am I going to have enough expertise? Am I going to, all of the things where you're fear-based, I would have recommended to anybody or to myself to just lose all of that. I have to say that is what I did, and it's probably a huge reason why we're still around and growing and scaling. But those would be some pieces of advice for anybody starting out, or even if you've been around for a while and you're just wondering, where are you at? You need some confirmation that it's okay to stay in that space, in that single location space. If you've not heard that advice before, it could really be for anybody in this field.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And I loved all the advice you gave, but I think that definitely too, like learning the basics of business, like you were saying, like, okay, these are the things like I need to know how to do, because if you are a nurse, like, and that's primarily what people start out in, you're not taking any business courses like when you get your nursing license. And so it's like you kind of come into this new business and you're like, okay, I'm not sure what to do. And like I'm sure there's courses online that you can take, or like you could even go back to school and get your MBA, but it's like learning the basics as quickly as you can too, so you can function, because those are things that, like you were saying, in the first 5 years, like if you don't know that by the first 6 months, you're gonna be in a not good position.
What's the plan? You need to have a plan to help yourself navigate, or you're just going to be all over the place and find yourself in a position one day that, you were really stuck and you need some guidance. I reached out to, so all of my legal, my accounting, my legal, I actually went and sought people who, or I guess partnerships that were already dealing with companies much larger than mine. I think that was a big help for myself as well, that I needed to not cheap out on those things. And I needed to be around people who could be there as a support to get to the next level. And I think that was a really good decision too. For anybody listening in.
I think that that's really good advice as well too, because if you're working with somebody who's working with people, like businesses who are the same size or smaller, they're not going to know what to do when you grow your business. And like, it's almost setting you up for like, not a very long-term relationship too. You want to go to people and have these mentorships and like be able to learn from them. Like if you have an accountant who's working with like multi-million-dollar companies, like they're going to be able to tell you what to do when you're at the $1 million level too. Because like
how to get there.
Yeah, exactly. Like what are their clients doing, and like how, what are their profits and losses, what's their spending ratios look like, all these different things that as a business owner you have to know for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll go back to the business knowledge. Everyone wants to know where to get that. I do find myself in rooms and conferences all the time where I'm getting cornered and asked a lot of different questions about tell me the other side of things, not just the injectable part, the techniques, but we need to know the other stuff. It's largely lacking. And even still today, even though we know we need this, injectable courses are still missing the breadth, like requirements of what business is. Even if they have components, I do find they don't contain the big meaty information that you need to be a true business owner. Like at the beginning, you're your own CEO, CFO, COO, all of those
Yeah.
things, marketer, you do all of the things yourself, and you're functioning on no knowledge. You're just kind of floating. And so that's one big gap. And I don't know if we'll talk about it at all, but finding a consultant, that's where I'm moving into consultancy and investments,
Okay.
because I've learned so much about what we do in the service-based industry, also on the medical side. But how do we help other people who are in the same boat? Because I can tell you there's people who have been open a long time and still don't understand the business side of things. So I think
Yeah.
it's a big gap, and I think we can do better in terms of offering education and offering partnerships for people to still be around after the 5-year mark.
Yeah, no, and that's super cool too, because especially like when you probably are talking with maybe these newer business owners or maybe people who are like, I don't think I'm doing this right, even, like I need kind of some help. And so it's cool for them to be able to talk to you because you've done it. So it's not just like somebody who's giving you advice who maybe like went to school and got their MBA, but like being able to talk to somebody where you're like, okay, so you've done this, like your advice is super legit.
That's the key part, is asking people who have been there.
Yeah.
Don't ask advice from people who haven't been there. I do see there's a lot of fake information or sort of wannabes out there. And for whatever reason, I'm not hating or shaming. It's just that you do really need to learn from somebody who's been there. Otherwise, it's not a real guide. There's no guidance to it that's been there, done that. And I actually kind of think that that's unfortunate. But I also want to say, if there's anybody out there thinking that they don't have it together or don't know what they're doing, like that is the norm. So just because I might have figured it out, I had an incredibly ridiculous, inconceivable amount of gumption and grit and belief in myself. Like every bet was on me. And if you don't feel that way, then you're going to feel lost a lot. And I felt lost a lot, but I always knew I'd find my way. It's just my personality. But I do want people to know that that's the norm. There is no step of the way where you're like, oh, I got it, and I know exactly what I'm doing. There's always that little imposter syndrome inside. And it's because there's a little gap of knowledge, but that's totally normal. So I want that to be recognized, that everyone feels that way and it's normal.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, well, and I think you brought up a good point too, that like any business ownership, especially in an industry that is competitive, like aesthetics, is so much of it is mindset too. It's like looking inward. Like if you're going through something personally, a lot of times you're going to see that in your business. And like when you make strides like with your mindset and your personal growth, you're going to see that in your business too. Absolutely. It's almost like a mirror of you is your business.
It is. It's a direct mirror of you. And I talk about this work-life balance thing where I don't know what that is, because my business is such a part of me. It's in my DNA. It's created from my thoughts. It's created from my body, from my actions, literally every day. So it's there. It's a mindset thing. But I also would like to say that you can set the mindset yourself. So it's a direct correlation to what's going on in your life. But if you don't want it to be that way, if you want it to be 5 times the size that it is, or greater, or do it in a very niche way, then the mindset needs to be that you need to become a different person. If your business is a reflection of what you are, but you want your business to be different, then you need to be different. You need to go through new iterations of yourself to get you there. There's just no change if there's no change. I say that all the time, but you can manifest it through your own actions. That's the part of like when I clued into that, like if I want my business to be 10 times the size that it is, then I need to think 10 times bigger. I need to be 10 times different. I need to have 10x different actions every day. And I need to be a completely different human than I am today, a completely different business owner. And that's the beauty of the mindset. As your mindset changes, your business will follow. So think big if that's what you want to do, or think there's a lot of ways that you can take that. It doesn't have to be big. It could just be that it's cozy and it's successful and you sleep at night. Like that could be the mindset that you want to go through life to represent your business or to have your business look like. Okay, it's small, it's cozy, and those are the patients that I want to attract. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's mindset. It's all mindset.
Yeah, everybody wants something different, but it's just like you have to also like figure out what you want. Like, do you
Absolutely.
want the business that's just like you were saying, like the single location and like, okay, I'm making money, like I have a few employees, like everything's going good. This is what I want. Or do you want 10 locations and, you know, like hundreds of employees? Like, what is it that you want? Because that's not going to look the same for everyone as well.
And that's what my downtime looks like, asking myself all of those questions.
Yeah.
What do I want the business to look like? Literally, what do I want the walls to look like? What do I want it to feel like when patients come in? What patients do I want in there?
Yeah.
You got to speak to those people. I can tell you exactly who our patients are and who our avatar is. And that's exactly who walks through the door. It's exactly who books with us. It's exactly who consults with us. So that mindset can also just be, you just dream everything you want. You make a decision on every aspect of your business and what your patients look like, what everything looks like, literally the color of the walls to
Yeah.
the types of services you want to offer. And then you take actions towards those. That's how
Yeah.
I've done.
No, I love that. That's super, super awesome. And I would love to hear and for you to tell the audience too, like a little bit more about the consultancy side of your business as well as your in-person practice too, so that, you know, they know kind of what you offer and everything. And then if anybody's listening from Ottawa, then they can book with you as well.
Well, the consultancy is global.
Okay,
And
yeah.
it's in its infancy, but I've been collecting basically a program for the last 7 years and how I got to where I am. There's book writing involved. There's obviously sitting on podcasts like this and really determining what people want to hear. The consultancy is new. It's a company called Beauty Guru Investments. And we're a mixture of, we buy beauty businesses again to help either buy them and pull them over and make sure that they're doing all the processes and marketing properly to be bigger and better than what they are. Basically purchase, make them bigger, acquisitions. And then also the consultancy side, which is basically a pay for service, and you determine how much you want me to be involved. You need me to do an analysis and look at where you're at. Do you want to tell me what your goals are, and I'll tell you what's missing? Can be everything from a 1 day event to a multiple day event and a check-in later. There's many ways to build it out, but I usually can pick out the I don't want to say weaknesses, but the areas that are opportunities for businesses and what they're missing, just based on going through it myself. That's what the consultancy is. It's a smaller portion of my time, but it's fun. I really like that because it means I get to be creative with my knowledge that I've gained and share it and articulate it. And that's basically what I do best. I articulate. Yeah. So we have that. And I do have other businesses that are under the Beauty Guru investment hat, which are in the beauty realm. I have a hair salon franchise. Awesome. And we do luxury hair services, and that's growing as well. And you just never know what other kind of beauty businesses we're going to be purchasing. But I'm the girl that people go to when they're trying to sell their beauty business or they're trying to recover it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then in the cosmetic clinic side, I am the CEO and founder. And basically, I work with my team and we build the aesthetic practice. It's solid and doing everything it needs to do right now. But in terms of multiplying, currently we're growing the locations that we're at. We've had a lot of growth in 3 years. 3 locations is a lot.
That's awesome.
And and so I do that full time and more moving into the personal branding, consultancy, investment space more and more all of the time, which is actually how you found me on LinkedIn, is through that. But I do have an alias in my city. People know me as Nurse Chelsey. Go places all the time in my hometown as well. And I'm recognized, but that's what people know me as in my city. But the goal is that people know me as the business beauty guru throughout the world. And you'll see me on a Shark Tank stage someday being the one everyone goes to for their beauty business advice or to partnership, to have a partnership.
Love that. That is how I found you. That's what I knew you for.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Cool. Well, tell everyone what is the best way to find you as well. And then I will put also all of the links and everything in the show notes too for easy access.
So on LinkedIn, you can find me as Chelsey Brown. You can find me under the page, the Cosmetic Clinic will bring you there. You can find me under the page Beauty Guru Investments on LinkedIn. I'm trying to be more active on LinkedIn, so follow me there. And I do give business advice on there, and it's all free, and it's doing really well. So find me there for some free advice. You'll be able to find me on my own podcast and hopefully my own book within a year's time. And then on social media, Facebook and Instagram. I'm more heavy on Instagram, but you'll find me at Nurse Chelsey, the Cosmetic Clinic, where I focus more on the aesthetic side of things and how to run a business, how to be relatable, how to be a CEO, how to be a nurse, all of those things. I literally don't hold back. I discuss everything on there. Awesome. But on the LinkedIn side, I talk more about business in general.
Okay.
Not just the aesthetic side. So yeah, that's how you can find me.
That is so amazing. I really, really appreciate you coming on today and not holding anything back, giving us all the advice. It was amazing. So thank you.
It's my pleasure, Taylor. Thank you so much. And good luck to everyone listening.
Thanks.